Now, what that's going to do is it's going to allow you to increase your margins ahead of what your competitors are at. So all the competitors that are operating in a brick and mortar location, their margins may be razor thin. Yours is going to be nice and fat. What's up, hard chargers, and welcome back to another episode of Hodgepodgepreneur with me, Kyle Miller. And on this episode, I wanted to talk about 3 businesses that I think will be in high demand at the end of this whole coronavirus, or even right now during the coronavirus. I think these are 3 business models that not everybody is talking about, not everybody is thinking of. I hope that you've never got that impression by looking at my channel that I would ever say, hey, sit at home in your underwear and make $100,000 a month. That's just not the reality that I've ever seen, nor anybody that I know has ever seen. There are people out there that get that kind of success, but those people are 1 in 100,000. So to think that every time you try something, you're going to be able to sit at home and not do anything and drive a Lamborghini, I'm sorry, that's not anything that I push on this channel. So I'm going to tell you 3 business models that I think are going to be in high demand during and after the coronavirus and for years to come, if not for the rest of your life. So let's hop into it with number 1. So number 1 is a digital restaurant. So as the coronavirus has shown, it's important for people to social distance, and that social distancing thing is going to carry on for quite a while into the future until more things evolve, right? So I'm not going to get into the science of it because I'm just so good at science. But I am going to say that this is something that people want more and more of, and that is the convenience of being able to get food at home. Not knowing what government regulations are going to come down the pipe for restaurants in the future, not knowing what all is going to happen with people wanting to be out and about or wanting to be at home, not knowing all of that, the safest thing to do if you're going to do a restaurant business is to do a digital restaurant. Now, here's the thing with a digital restaurant that's so awesome. So a regular restaurant operates on very slim margins. And the reason the margins are so slim is because a brick and mortar location costs a lot of money to operate. You have rent, you have utilities, you have insurance, not to mention you have, depending on what municipality you live in which state and which county, there are annual inspections. You have to get the exit lighting inspected, and if that doesn't work, I've seen that cost upwards of $500 to fix something pretty simple like a backup battery. You got to get fire extinguishers tested. You have to have AED defibrillator kits out there. All the things that come along with just that part of keeping the doors open, right? All the local regulations, and those change all the daggum time. So that's one thing that you would cut out. The other thing is you don't have to pay all the additional labors of bartenders, busboys, waitresses. You have to have napkin dispensers there and salt and pepper shakers, all of these other things that come along with having a brick and mortar location. And all of these things that cut into the margins and what makes it so difficult for a brick and mortar location to operate. With a digital restaurant, what you would do is you would have an online store where people would order, just like what any restaurant has. But the only thing you would actually physically have is a kitchen. Now, the cool thing is that in a lot of big cities, they have kitchens that you can actually rent, industrial kitchens that you can rent. I live in a little 50,000 person town in Ohio, and we even have one of those. They're sometimes referred to as incubators. They're sometimes referred to as startup kits. Whatever it is, you can Google it and find one in your area, or you could just outfit a building for it. Now, here's the thing that's awesome about that. The industrialized kitchen that you would need in order to cook this, it still has to fall within the regulations of your local state guidelines and all that. But location doesn't mean anything. As long as you're on the internet, as long as you have a good presence on the internet, you'll be found. So you don't have to pay the high real estate taxes or everything that comes along with getting in a location that you are within eyesight of all the customers. So you don't have to worry about that. Then the only staffing that you have is those that are going to pump out the food, and you don't even have to worry about delivery because these days you have DoorDash, Grubhub, Uber Eats, you have all these other third-party companies that are willing to come and pick that up and deliver it for you. So you don't need a delivery person, you don't need a delivery vehicle or insurance for delivery, you only need the kitchen itself and a digital presence. Now, what that's going to do is it's going to allow you to increase your margins ahead of what your competitors are at. So all the competitors that are operating in a brick and mortar location, their margins may be razor thin. Yours is going to be nice and fat. Now, if it's nice and fat, what you can do is you can offer either a better product. So if I'm selling tacos and you're selling tacos, you could put way better product inside of the tacos that make them taste way better. Or you could put way more money into online marketing so that you have a better presence than me, so that you steal more customers from me. So you you have more margins to work with, which makes it harder for me to compete with you. So that is why I think that a digital restaurant is one of the things of the future that you should consider if you're thinking about starting a restaurant. Item number 2 is create a digital product that teaches people how to manage remote workers. So my wife actually works remotely, and she's been working remotely since 2014. My wife has a cornucopia of all kinds of information and pointers on how she would like to be managed as a remote employee and how managers should manage remote employees. So somebody like her would be primed to put out an online course on how to manage remote employees. Now, the digital course could be created easier than you think. You could put it on something like Skillshare, where they give you a portion of however many hours somebody watches the video. You could put it on Udemy, where they give you a flat fee, or you could put it on Teachable. And on Teachable, you could actually put that onto your website, or it's right there where everybody can watch it and pay for it. So there's a few different venues that you could go to offer this online course that people would pay for. And this would be a form of passive income for you. I don't necessarily know that it would be something that you could start as a full-time gig ever, but if you created enough topics on it, became enough of an expert in the industry, you probably could break away and become a full-time consultant for something like that. Which brings me into the third and final business plan that I think that would be implementable during and after the COVID problem, and that is a digital transformation consultant. So digital transformation is the process of taking an organization and converting it completely over to a more digitalized way of doing things. There are smaller businesses in every city and state across America that operate in an archaic way still. I know businesses that still require you to come in person to sign something. They don't DocuSign it to you, or they'll mail it to you. And so there's a lot of these places that have found that during this pandemic, they must go digital. And there's some of them that are fumbling their way through it right now and probably getting eaten up by some sharks that are preying in the water and saying, hey, you need this and you need that. And they're overcharging and overselling things to them that they don't necessarily need. So what you can do is you can come in as a consultant basically, and you can show them how to move their employees and the way that they do things to a more digital way of doing it. Now, some of these employers, I would suspect, are going to find that they really like the idea of some of this remote working. I think they're going to find that they really like the idea of online meetings. I think that they're going to find that the margins and the opportunities to increase their profits are going to be expounded over these next few years if they invest in digital platforms that they never wanted to before. They were more resistant to it. Now they've been forced into it. And I think that some of those people are going to like that, and they're going to want to amplify that. Some of those people are going to fall by the wayside. And then some of those people are going to be struggling. And those would be the people that you would want to get in touch with. Those people who said, you know what, I always resisted this whole digital transformation thing, but I recognize that it's necessary and I want to do it. So you'll find some of these folks that are either a more seasoned owner who says, you know what, digital stuff just isn't the way of my clients, it isn't the way of me, or a second or third generation owner who took over from a more seasoned owner who said, don't worry about that, you know, your clients will never be into that. So there's a lot of industries out there that are behind the times in digital setup, and it's something that's scary to them. So for a consultant to come in and talk to them about this, it would be well worth it for them. And I think that this is something that gives them that push that says you need to get up with the times or get left behind. Especially because now even government regulation is basically going to require that you hop onto those. Now, here's the thing. You don't have to be an expert in any one of those things. I'm not saying that you need to go out and know how to build a website. I'm not saying that you need to go out and know how to do social media posting or know how to do search engine optimization or how to set up a server. What I'm saying is that all you have to do is know the people who know those things. You can get referral fees. So I can tell you for a fact, Vonage, you can earn up to $10,000 in referral fees from them from referring folks. And I bet you could do better than that. So if you know a Vonage salesperson who can close deals, and so you're going over to somebody who's on digital phones and they want you know that they need to move over to voice over IP, you can get them to move over to Vonage and just make the connection between them and the Vonage rep. And then you know that they need fiber, so you make the connection between them and the Spectrum rep. And you know that they need to be able to do digital meetings, so you make a connection between them and GoToMeeting rep. And so what you do is you create a package of all these different folks and you bring them in, And you could even team up with somebody who's a freelancer. So if it is something for social media, for example, they don't have a Facebook page or they don't know how to do the Facebook thing, you bring in a freelancer. Again, this is the expert, here's a client. You make the connection and then you get the fee, right? You could get the kickback from the person you brought in and you could get payment for doing the consulting. So there's a few different ways of structuring that. That's just kind of a spitball analysis of what I would think I would do. There's 3 different things that I think are going to be popular in the upcoming months, if not already, and in the upcoming years. I think it's a way of evolving with the government regulations that might be coming down and a way of servicing people in the new normal that they are finding themselves in. So hopefully that was helpful. Hopefully that gives you some tips and some ideas. And maybe if you don't like those, maybe it sparks something of a different interest that you didn't think of before. So comment down below. Let me know what you think about that. Let me know if you have any other ideas of where you think industries are going. I know that some people are talking about the trucking industry and the transportation industry being a big opening. I know that some people are talking about doing PR as a big opening because you need to let people know what you're doing. So comment down below. Let me know what you think. Let me know what your opinions are. And hopefully it was helpful for you. And I will see you on the next episode of Hodgepodgepreneur. Keep charging hard, hard chargers.